Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about astrology and the death of Bing Liu. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right, but he was a medical researcher, very prominent, prolific medical researcher, and I believe it's the University of Pittsburgh. And he had died over the weekend. He had been shot in the head and the neck, is according to a report on Yahoo News, Yahoo.com, on Yahoo News, and he was apparently he was on the threshold of finding something significant in connection with the coronavirus. The thing about this is it does look a little suspicious if this is the time when he was on the threshold of finding something in connection with the coronavirus that may have been very significant, and then he's found dead. They said that the report on Yahoo.com on Yahoo News stated that there was somebody they thought that may have been connected with this, that person was found dead, and not far from Bing Liu. And this is somebody, they think it's speculation, but they're thinking it may have been a murder, suicide. Now I want to talk about his astrology chart and death. The thing about it is, of course, I couldn't get a time of birth. I found out what I believe to be is likely his birthday, and because he had it on. Birthday was on a Facebook page, or had been post, people wishing him happy birthday. It was on October 20th. He was reported as being 37 years old. That would put the birth year 1982, because he would be 38 this year. So I went with October 20th, 1982, but it is speculative. And also, in any way, the thing about this is, and of course, I had to do a solar sunrise chart improvised because I didn't have a birth time, of course. But anyway, the thing about some things I found interesting. I mean, you're looking at his chart. Okay, he had the sun in Libra. It was at a critical degree at 26 degrees based on the solar sunrise time for October 20th, 1982. He also, and then it put the moon in early Sagittarius, so this could manifest. I mean, Sun in Libra can really shine in having a very active intellect and being very active intellectually, and then that energy, it could be injected into the moon in Sagittarius, into learning, being that perpetual learner, higher education, which I believe he did have a he studied in college very extensively. He had a PhD in computational science. Interestingly enough, in his chart, he had the moon, based on the solar sunrise time, the moon conjunct Uranus, and Uranus, of course, could be connected with computers. Sagittarius could have some interest in science, so it's not surprising that emotional need may have been tied into some kind of computer science, or science that was computer related, no matter however you want to look at it. The thing about this is that he, looking at this again and some other things in his chart, I noticed that he also had in the chart Pluto was fairly close conjunction to his sun. Sometimes this could manifest in your life. The sun is about our life, and Pluto, of course, sadly, is about death, and I mean, it could also be about murder. Sometimes this could be about a murder of the physical body in some isolated cases. He also had transit Pluto in that solar sunrise chart in the fourth house of the end of life. So the death indirectly may have been tied in with the coronavirus. Pluto can be associated with viruses. The fourth house is the end or latter part of one's life. Maybe there was somebody that wanted him to suppress this information. They didn't want him to unveil it. Who really knows? We're going to find out probably more about this as the story progresses. So anyway, another thing that I noticed, I mean, he also, at the time of his death, they had transit Neptune by near the sixth house cusp in the solar sunrise chart. this is the indicator that he was really strongly involved in this research connected with a disease that can't be eradicated, or at least at this point in time has no cure for. Neptune can be about diseases, and of course Pisces can be about ones that can't be eradicated, don't have a cure for. I stated before, the report on Yahoo had him getting shot in the head and the neck. He had Chiron in Taurus in his chart. He had it in Taurus can be associated with the neck. Chiron is about wounds. Chiron in Taurus can sometimes manifest in physical wounds to the neck. It made a close inconjunct aspect to his sun, which is about life, of course. And I mean, when you have inconjuncts, they can be about health-related matters, but this was not certainly more than just a health-related matter. The fact that he did die. Chiron also in the solar sunrise chart was either in his 8th house or close to the 8th house cusp, the Chiron in Taurus in the solar sunrise chart, which could indicate a death. I mean, in some cases it could manifest in some physical wounds associated with one's death and connected with something Taurus related. This case, it was the neck. He was, the report on Yahoo did have him being shot in the head and the neck. So, and another thing too is the ruler of the 8th house falls in that solar sunrise chart, falls in the 12th house. So the 8th house is the house of death. The 12th house is the house associated with Pisces in astrology. To be rather nebulous, hidden, unclear, obscure. The details of his death might be somewhat nebulous and unclear and obscure for some time to come, sadly. So anyway, there's a lot more one can say about this at this point in time. It just really, as far as his chart and transits to it go, the thing about this as well, looking at his chart, he had a very, most of it, his planets were like all in a cluster. They were all confined in a pretty confined area, basically within like not less than 90 degrees. They were all bunched within less than a 90 degree, within 90 degrees of each other, and they were all, and it tells me that he probably had very, I would say, a lot of concentration of energy. When you have all those planets that are concentrated in a relatively small space, those are, to me, that's an indicator where you have a lot of focus of energy. You don't really allow a lot of extraneous things to interfere with what you're doing. He had, in the solar sunrise chart, he had Virgo on the 12th house cusp, and that tells me, Virgo energy can be connected with biology, because I believe Virgo is the sign, of course, that's very punctilious with details. They're about analysis, and you have to be very meticulous with details and very and have a lot of analysis to do something in connection with biology. I would say Virgo energy, Virgo can be very proficient at. Now, he didn't have his sun or his moon in Virgo, but again, on the 12th house cusp of seclusion and solitude, it told me that he could very well, this could have been manifested in him being able to do things connected with biology in solitude and seclusion, a place where he wouldn't have many disruptions or distractions. And again, he had all those planets within like less than 9, in a space in his chart, which was really with less than 90 degrees. So really compacted basically in a less than 90 degree area. So it tells me again, that's another indicator again that he probably didn't allow a lot of outside or extraneous influences to interfere with whatever it was he was doing. So I mean, to me, it tells me that he was somebody that had a lot of strong focus, single-mindedness. And if I remember correctly, I think it stated he was like a mentor in a way to others. That could be attributed to his Sun conjunct Saturn in his chart, which could make some manifest in a person being somewhat of a mentor to other people. And of course, Sun in Libra could be very intellectual as well, and very cerebral. So, and I think he probably was really able to be maybe that mentor to others with things that were of a very intellectual level and nature. So the thing is, anyway, there's really not much more I could really be able to say regarding this, as far as his natal chart and his transits may go. One last thing I did notice, his again, going back to his planets, they were, if I remember it, they were confined in less than a 90 degree space. So the thing is, he very focused, very single-minded, I'm sure. He also had Mars conjunct Neptune in the chart. Now, in Sagittarius, the way this may have manifested with him, this could have been maybe a lot of that energy. When you look at Mars conjunct Neptune, now that could indicate sometimes dissipated and depleted vitality and energy, but at the same time, a lot of that energy and vitality, Mars hitting Neptune, a lot of that energy and vitality going into and taking action in matters with the things that are connected with diseases like the coronavirus, and doing so with a lot of Sagittarius exuberance and enthusiasm, a lot of expansive energy. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.